Barcelona?
Well, I mean, the team that I've worked with is Spanish, and they presented this idea to me, and it inspired me because it's like I have I've had art shows in the past, but I've had, this was something like different because I grew up like loving fun houses, and I loved wax museums and art shows, so it was a way to mix them all together. And the first one was in Spain, and I visited Barcelona many years ago, and of course, like most people, I love Gaudi. I love the inspiration of certain Spanish artists, and so yes, I have a very strong feeling about here, and there's such a nice spirit about it. There's such an artistic vibe here, which to any artist is very inspirational.
When you visit the rooms, what do you feel?
Sorry?
What do you feel when you visit the rooms?
No. Well, it reminds me of how when I was making these things back a long time ago, and I'd sit in a room and draw, and it's like when you draw something, you don't know whether it become an animation, a film, nothing. And so what I love about it is it kind of reminds me of the artistic process, in the sense of like, you don't know where everything's going. You can open a door and this is there. You open the door of your mind, it's something else. And so it's something very, that's what I found. For me, the show sort of represented the creative process and how you make something. Like you said, it starts with a little drawing, and then it can turn into something big, something in your mind. It's always big. So for me, it was very, very, like I said, it was probably the closest thing to the creative process that I could feel.
And what do you think your cinema has influenced subsequent or other filmmakers?
I never think about that sort of thing. I mean, you only do things because, for me, it's all very internal. So I never think about other people, other things, the movie industry, the business side of it. For me, it's always about from the inside. So so for me, I never think about those things. And for me, it's very important to keep it all very personal and keep it very much from inside and not think too much about outside noise.
Your characters are often very vulnerable. Are you interested in the fragility of the human being?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think everybody feels fragile, and everybody feels alone, and everybody feels certain things. And so I always tried to represent that. I mean, that always came from my drawings. That's how I feel, and that's how I felt. And so for me, those things are just part of who I am. And, like I said, I don't know about other people. I just know, for me, those things were how I feel. And so, I feel very lucky that you can express those feelings and put them out, whether it's in a drawing or a film or an animation or whatever. Those help me to survive in a way.
And you've always focused on techniques like stop motion, right? What do you think about the disruption of AI in the world of
Well,
cinema?
no, I saw something recently which really terrified. I saw like the AI did a version like AI version of my versions of Disney characters, and it was very strange to see, because it was like, and some of them were very good, but at the same time I felt like my soul had been taken out of me. I felt sort of like something had been sort of robbed of me, like things that I might have done have already been done by AI, and so it was a strangely disturbing thing. And I mean, I'm sure there's good things to AI, but at the same time, for me, this was quite a disturbing sort of phenomenon. It's like in cultures where they go, like when somebody takes their picture and they feel like their soul has been taken from them. I sort of felt like that a little bit. It's like, even though they were funny and creative and interesting, there was something very disturbing to me about it.
I'm talking about projects. This year, the premiere of Beetlejuice 2 is expected, right? And I don't know whether you are preparing a review of the 50, of the attack on the 50-foot woman.
Yeah, I'm here at this show. I have finishing Beetlejuice, so believe me, my mind can only take so much at one time.
You visited Barcelona. Did you locate or identify possible places where you can?
Well, no, I just visited, again, the Gaudi church. I mean, it's like one of the wonders of the world, this place. And so the light, the color, the sort of organic artistry of it, all you have to do is walk into Barcelona or anywhere and see, it's just, you can be an artist or tourist, whatever, and you feel inspiration.
And this relationship with the producer organizing this show, does it make you want to cooperate, to work with Spanish artists?
Well, yeah, no, like I said, when I was presented with this show by a Spanish team, I felt connected. I felt like they understood me, and I felt like they were trying to do something interesting and fun and get into the spirit of a fun house and a sort of the mind of somebody who's doing this thing. So yeah, no, I worked with. I worked with a Spanish art from Barcelona, Carlos, who was one of the designers on Corpse Bride. I've had the beauty of working with amazing Spanish artists.
And would you like to work with any Spanish actresses or actors?
Sure. I mean, look, I'll work with anybody who wants to work with me. Sometimes it's one way or the other, but of course, I'm very open. Look at every film I've made and stuff. I always love an international. I love people from different cultures. I work with Spanish, Italian, Mexican, English, Polish, Czech. For me, art is all. It's of the world, and so for me, I love working with people from different cultures because. It connects you. Artists are artists, and it's amazing to feel people from other cultures.
And right now, when there's cinema, movie theaters, people watching things on streaming, how do you see the relation, the interplay between both?
Well, I mean, many years ago, it was like, people thought theaters were dead, and now it's going to be TV. But I feel like what's luckily now is like movies are movies, and people still want to go to the movies and still want to see something on a big screen and feel things in a theater with that kind of emotion. So luckily, I don't think it's like sometimes the media wants to portray it like it's this or that, when in fact it's everything. There's some things that work beautifully on television where it's longer form, and there's some things that work more beautifully in a cinema. And so I do believe that this sort of that versus that is sort of over, and there's more openness to sort of the theatrical experience and the television experience, and they're both valid.